Hello, true crime aficionados. Welcome to part 2 of Robert A Macedonio Exposed. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, we suggest you watch that video before you go on to this video. The link to part 1 is in the description. Now on to the video. Why did Robert A Macedonio's business partner Michael Brown, attorney for Rex Heuermann, dissolve his business relationship with Robert A Macedonio? In 1995, Macedonio and fellow prosecutor Michael Brown left the district attorney's office to start their own criminal defense firm and named it Brown and Macedonio, LLP. This firm is where Robert A. Macedonio also ran a real estate practice. Macedonio's social media posts seem to embrace the caricature of a flashy New York criminal defense attorney. There are photos of him holding a bejeweled champagne bottle in front of a Lamborghini, thanking rapper 50 Cent for gracing his daughter's Sweet 16 party, showing off new Gucci sneakers, sitting courtside at New York Knicks games, and passing out Thanksgiving turkeys from trucks. Macedonio testified that after his marriage collapsed in late 2001, his drinking and cocaine use became a problem, and that he recognized this only after his law partnership with Brown dissolved in 2005. Brown declined to be interviewed. Rumors circulated in the court system that Robert A. Macedonio had gotten too chummy with some of his criminal defendant clients. Suffolk County Judge Stephen Braslow testified during Macedonio's license hearing that he once advised Robert A. Macedonio to be wary of socializing with 50 cents and 25 cents and whatever these guys are, presumably a reference to 50 Cent and his oft-arrested protege, Tony Yayo. Robert A. Macedonio also represented Tony Yayo when he was charged with slapping the teenage son of a rival, and Yayo ultimately pleaded to a violation. You can't be hanging around with the clients, whatever they're doing or not doing, because they have nothing to lose, Judge Braslow said he told Macedonio. You do. You're a lawyer. You have a law license. Whatever happened to Robert A. Macedonio's elaborate scheme to commit mortgage and real estate fraud? Clyde Ward, a Bay Shore felon previously convicted of crimes including forgery and sale of a controlled substance, worked as a sales manager at Robert A. Macedonio's mortgage brokerage named Distressed Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. Another real estate company incorporated using Clyde Ward's home address and was operating from Macedonio's office. This is according to the search warrant, which authorized investigators to retrieve the company's materials after a raid on Macedonio's office. Suffolk prosecutors charged Clyde Ward with conspiracy and scheme to defraud, both felonies. He admitted to transporting and selling crack cocaine, and while working for Macedonio, he also admitted to providing false documents to lending institutions, issuing false certificates of income, and false certificates of appraisals. Clyde Ward, in a court hearing, stated that his criminal activity enriched Macedonio's mortgage brokerage. Robert A. Macedonio then had used his law firm's escrow account to launder funds in the mortgage fraud scam. Court records estimates that the proceeds of the alleged criminal schemes tied to Robert Macedonio exceeded $4 million. How curious is it that the same attorney, William J. Keahon, who represented John Bittrolff, who was convicted in the murders of Rita Tangradi and Colleen McNamee, also represented Robert A. Macedonio. In his appeal, here are some reviews about William Keahon. Mr. Keahon has an excellent reputation and takes on big-name cases, which may have been the reason for his lack of communication with us. He charges big bucks, but I don't know if it is worth it. He really hasn't done anything other than throw his name around, which at this point doesn't matter. What matters is being a good, honest, trustworthy lawyer who returns phone calls and communicates with clients and their family. I am very disappointed in Mr. Keahon and think we may have been better off with a legal aid attorney at this point. Another review states the lawyers in this firm were horrible. He didn't understand the case. He was unethical, unprofessional, mediocre, inept. His representation was a joke. I do not recommend this firm whatsoever. It was a waste of time and money. We at Guarantee are not saying he is a bad attorney. We are only pointing out client experiences with Mr. Keahon. How odd is it that John Ray's former business partner, Vess Mitev, is now representing the adult daughter and stepson of Rex Heuermann, who stands accused in the murder of 6 women. Let us recap on Robert A. Macedonio, Thomas Spota, John Scott Prudenti, and Christopher P.C. Partland Macedonio his law license. A career that saw him rise from a junior Suffolk County prosecutor to a sought-after attorney for high-profile defendants appeared over. But 3 years later, under unusual circumstances that have been largely hidden from public view, Hudson and District Attorney Thomas Spoda allowed Macedonio to reduce his felony conviction to a misdemeanor, paving the way for him to regain his law license. Newsday obtained some of the sealed records, and they reveal that behind what appears on the surface to be a routine drug possession case was actually an extensive investigation by Spoda's office into financial crimes that included mortgage fraud. Spoda faced scrutiny for Macedonio's reduced conviction. Federal investigators have issued subpoenas to the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office that seek records about the case. However, most of those records are sealed, which some legal analysts say is unusual. Some sources question whether Macedonio received preferential treatment. Macedonio paid prosecutor John Scott Prudenti to help secure the early release of a violent felon. The report says the case could be part of a larger federal probe into possible selective prosecution under District Attorney Thomas Spoda. Christopher McPartland, the former Chief of Investigations and Chief of the Government Corruption Bureau of the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office, SCDAO, were each sentenced by United States District Judge Joan M. Azraq to 5 years in prison. Additionally, Spoda was ordered to pay a $100,000 fine. The sentences stem from the defendant's December 17, 2019 convictions, following a 6-week federal jury trial on all 4 counts of the indictment, specifically of conspiracy to tamper with witnesses and obstruct an official proceeding, witness tampering, obstruction of justice, and being accessories after the fact to former Suffolk County Police Department, SCPD, Chief of Department James Burke's deprivation of a prisoner's civil rights. These flunkies are all tied together, and somehow Macedonio was able to skate from mortgage fraud, bribery, amongst other potential charges. I guess you can say he is the Teflon lawyer. Vess Mitev has been involved in the Gilgo Beach case and Shannon Gilbert's investigation since 2011. Vess has a lot of knowledge from working alongside John Ray until 2019 and 2020. Vess has long-standing ties to John Ray. From the interviews that Vess participates in, you can tell that the parting of ways was not amicable, as Vess goes on to bash John Ray and his practice. So let's look at the big picture here. Stay with us as we come up with a theory. This may or may not be true, but it's definitely possible. Rex Heuermann gets arrested after work in Manhattan on July 13, 2023. Rex gets a court-appointed attorney, Michael Brown. Mr. Brown calls Robert A Macedonio and connects him to Rex Heuermann's wife. Robert A Macedonio then rushes to the Heuermanns and tells Asa, "Don't worry about anything, keep quiet, let me do the talking, and everything will be okay. I have plans that can spin this around, keep certain people out of trouble, and make a lot of money doing it." How did Vess Mitev ever hook up with the likes of Robert A Macedonio? What happened to that guy? With knowledge that Bob has about his past criminal enterprises that may or may not be tied to the Gilgo Beach murders, Macedonio reaches out to Vess Mitev. He has a lot of inside information about this case and persuades him to enlist on the team while spinning the idea of bashing his former partner publicly. For Vess Mitev's cooperation, he is allegedly paid by Peacock in the sum of $200,000. This may or may not be what happened, but it is possible. And where is Vess Mitev these days? Could he be in hiding? He has not made a public appearance in months. He has been silent. We wonder why. Vess Mitev has an extensive bio. It reads, Mr. Mitev has successfully tried hundreds of cases and conducted hearings at every trial level, court level in New York, district, county, family, and supreme, as well as in the federal courts and at myriad administrative agencies. Thanks, John Ray. You would not hear Vess say that, but it's true. Clients of Mitev Law Firm have the unparalleled advantage of being represented by a firm that approaches every case as if trial is imminent, resulting in favorable settlements, as courts and adversaries know that if the matter must be tried, it will be with aplomb. Thanks to John Ray's on-the-job training. He is admitted to the United States Supreme Court, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, the Eastern and Southern Districts of New York, and the courts of the state of New York. Again, thanks to John Ray, Mr. Mitev cases are regularly headlined news on the front page in the New York Law Journal, the Washington Post, the New York Post, the Long Island Press, CNN, Fox, and many local media affiliates, among others. Wait for it. Thanks to John Ray. That's right. Mr. Mitev has appeared as a panel member, legal commentator on TV and radio shows, including The Dr. Drew Show. From 2011 to 2013, he wrote an online column for the New York Law Journal called Pass the Bar. Here it comes. Thanks to John Ray. To remind everyone about Vess Mitev's roots, he was an associate of John Ray. Mr. Ray took Vess under his wing and showed Vess the ins and outs on how to practice law ethically with profession and diligence. Mitev worked side by side with John Ray in the Gilgo Beach investigation, to the point that Mr. Ray himself was so invested in the case, Mr. Ray used his own funds to hire ethical experts and examiners to work alongside John and Vess. Make no mistake, Vess Mitev has a lot of insider knowledge about the Gilgo Beach case and the corruption behind it. All we can report on is that Vess has been working alongside Mr. Ray in the police departments from 2011 to 2020, before the split. Vess decided to branch on his own and take on certain cases John Ray thought was questionable. Let's fast forward to 2023, and here we are. All four attorneys who have strong connections to each other with different agendas. One agenda we can report on as a fact. Mr. John Ray is paying out of pocket to seek justice for these victims, while Sideshow Bob and Garden Gnome Vess are lining their pockets with blood money. It makes us sick and quite friendly, so hold you. It's disgusting, unethical, and slap in the face to the respect of this case. As of now, we don't know what Michael Brown's motive is other than being called to publicly defend Rex Heuermann. But just ask yourself this: did Michael Brown tip off Sideshow Bob as to the skeletons about to come out and do the Disney Haunted Mansion dance? Let us know in the comments what you think. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to True Crime with Guarantee. Stay safe and stay aware.